Our tent was slashed open while we slept. I used to think that kind of stuff happened to other people. You know, the type of stories that start with, "It was supposed to be a peaceful trip," and end with sirens or a missing poster. Not us. Not me. We were just a bunch of regular people trying to unplug for a weekend. 3 of us, me, Sam, and my girlfriend Lena, packed up the Subi and headed to the Cascade Mountains. We found a spot on a backpacking subreddit. Some dude had dropped pins for a secret site near Goat Rock's wilderness. Said it had killer views and 0 crowds. Sounded perfect. We stocked up at Costco. Yeti cooler full of La Croix, hard seltzers, pre-marinated steaks, a mountain of trail mix. Lena had borrowed her dad's fancy tent from REI, the kind with 4-season stability that sounded too serious for spring weather. But we weren't complaining. We hit the trail around 2 p.m, hiked 5 miles in, and made camp just off a ridgeline with a view of the glacier. Nobody else in sight. No cell signal. No sign of civilization except for a faint fire ring someone else had left behind. That first night was chill. We grilled, joked about Sam's horrific snoring, told dumb ghost stories like we were 12. But something weird happened right before bed. A single sharp whistle from the woods. Sam paused mid-sentence. "You'll hear that?" I did. So did Lena. Just one whistle. Then nothing. We stared into the dark. "Coyote?" Lena offered, voice a little tight. I nodded. Not because I believed it, but because saying "I don't know" would have felt worse. That night I couldn't sleep. Something didn't feel right. I kept thinking about that whistle. Just one. Not repeated. Not part of a pack. It felt human. But we hadn't seen anyone on the hike in. Not a soul. Around 3 a.m, I stepped out to pee. The moon was bright, casting sharp shadows. I stood there shivering when I noticed it. A set of footprints around the back of our tent. Barefoot. I shit you not. No tread, just skin prints. 5 toes, long stride, deep heel impressions like someone had been walking slowly, deliberately. I froze. Then I called out, just loud enough, "Yo, Sam." His groggy voice came from inside the tent. "What?" "Nothing, man, sorry." I didn't tell him about the prints. Next morning, Lena noticed one of our Jetboil canisters was missing. We all assumed someone packed it wrong or left it at the last break spot. But I knew. I'd seen the prints. I just didn't say anything. Not yet. I wish I had. Because that was just the beginning. We didn't pack up that morning. We should have. Any rational person reading this right now is probably thinking, "Dude, leave." But when you're out there, in the middle of nowhere, everything feels distant. Even danger. You rationalize. You tell yourself you're being paranoid. And it's easy to pretend it's all fine when the sun's up. Lena laughed it off, called Sam a klutz, and we moved on. We decided to do a longer hike toward a glacial lake someone had marked on all trails. The route was sketchy, no signage, just faint deer trails and some stacked cairns. Halfway up, we found a torn-up tarp hanging from a tree. It was sun-bleached, mouldy, maybe a year old. Sam joked, "Looks like Jason Voorhees' summer camp." I laughed, but Lena didn't. She stared at the tarp a long time before we kept walking. We reached the lake around 1 p.m, dropped our packs and stripped to our underwear to jump in. That water felt like it came straight from the lungs of a glacier, Sharp, shocking, purifying. We stayed maybe 15 minutes before hiking back. Here's where shit got wrong. As we neared camp, I saw our tent, but something looked different. The rainfly was off. That wasn't how we left it. When we got closer, my gut dropped. The tent was unzipped, wide open. Our sleeping bags were pulled out. Stuff was moved. Not gone, but touched. Lena's underwear was lying on top of her sleeping pad. Our trail mix bag was slit open, not torn, cut like with a blade. I ran over to check the cooler. The steaks were gone. The seltzers too, but nothing else. We stood there in silence. Lena's face was pale. Sam muttered, "Raccoons?" "Raccoons don't unzip zippers, man," I said. "They don't cut through packaging with a fucking knife." That's when Lena pulled something from the pocket of her down jacket. A Polaroid. She held it up like it was diseased. I took it and stared. It was a photo of us. The three of us, sitting around the fire last night. The angle was from the trees. Someone had been watching. I felt something inside me snap. A low, pulsing dread. Sam started yelling, "Who the fuck is out here?" His voice echoed down the ridge across the trees. No answer, just wind, and birds going quiet. We packed everything, fast, shoved random gear into the packs, didn't even roll the sleeping bags. Lena kept muttering, "No way, no way," over and over. We started hiking out, only we didn't get far. Half a mile down the trail, Lena stopped cold and pointed. There, tied to a branch at head height, was another Polaroid. This one was close up. Just Lena, sleeping, her face half lit by moonlight. She turned to me, tears brimming, and said, "They were right outside the tent." Sam pulled out his knife and kept it in his hand the rest of the way. We hiked fast, silent. Every crack of a branch made us spin. We passed one of the cairns. It had been knocked over. Just a small thing. But it told me someone knew we'd be back through here. And they wanted us to know they knew. Another mile down, we stopped for water. Lena opened her pack and screamed. Inside, on top of her clothes, was a third Polaroid. It was her, brushing her teeth. From behind. We had no idea when it was taken. She dropped her pack and bolted up the trail. I grabbed it, Sam ran ahead to catch her, but she wasn't stopping. I've never seen fear like that. It wasn't just fear. It was violation. Like someone had crawled inside her life. Eventually, we reached a service road. One of those logging routes barely wide enough for a truck. It was marked on the map as seasonally maintained. We didn't care. We followed it down for hours. No one talked. No one even looked back. Right before sunset, we found a turnout with a dirt path leading toward what looked like an old ranger cabin. The roof had caved in. Place was abandoned. A rusted shovel was leaning against the porch. We had no idea where we were. We had no service. And we still had miles before we'd hit the main road. That night, we decided to sleep in shifts. But we never made it through the night. Because at 2:47 a.m., while I was on watch, I heard it. A long, slow scrape, like metal on bark. I stood up, knife in hand. Then Lena screamed. The tent zipper, the one we thought was zipped, was open. and someone had been inside it with her. Lena's scream ripped through the trees like a gunshot. I dropped everything and ran to the tent. Sam was scrambling to his feet, cursing, tangled in his sleeping bag. Lena was outside already, barefoot, panicked, shaking all over. He was in there. He was in there with me. I looked inside the tent. Nothing. But the zipper was wide open, and next to Lena's bag, inside, where we'd all slept just hours before, was a deep boot print in the dirt. Not ours. Not a hiking shoe. It looked like a heavy work boot. A deep heel, narrow toe, sharp edges. Fresh. My brain couldn't even process it. I spun around with the flashlight, scanning the trees. The beam flicked across mossy trunks, low branches, and mist curling between them. Nothing moved. No sound. No breathing. But I could feel it. Whoever it was, they were still watching. I didn't know what to do. Neither did Sam. We all just stood there, breathing hard, eyes wide. Lena was crying now, holding her arms like she was cold. "He touched my hair," she said. "I thought it was a bug, but he touched my fucking hair." I looked at the entrance again. The zipper hadn't been cut. It was opened quietly, deliberately, the same way we'd do it ourselves. He had been inside that thin nylon wall with her, just crouching there, watching her sleep. Sam suddenly grabbed his bag and started throwing stuff out. "I'm not staying. I don't care if it's dark. I'm walking till daylight." I didn't argue. We packed what we could carry in 30 seconds. Left behind gear, left behind food. Just took water, a flashlight, and the map. We made it maybe 2 miles before we had to stop. Lena's feet were cut and raw from running barefoot earlier. We wrapped them in my shirt and kept going. There was no path anymore. We'd veered off the logging road onto a deer trail, trying to shortcut to the highway. It was pitch black now. The flashlight was dying. Sam's headlamp flickered with every step. Then we heard the whistle again. Same tone, same distance. One long note. We froze. It came from behind us, maybe 20 yards. Then another whistle, from the left. Lena whispered, "They're surrounding us." I turned off the flashlight. Total darkness. We waited, holding our breath. And then I heard footsteps, slow, crunching leaves, one at a time, getting closer. I could feel them, like weight on my chest. Sam started breathing fast. Panic attack. He whispered, I can't see. I can't." Then something hit the ground next to us. A soft thud. I reached down and touched it, smooth, cold. It was another Polaroid. I turned it to the sky, letting what little moonlight there was hit it. It was Sam, sitting on the edge of the lake, from earlier that day. I showed it to him. His face went white. They followed us all day. We broke into a sprint. No plan, just ran. Branches slapped my face, thorns tore at my legs. I lost the map. Didn't care, just ran and ran until my lungs were bleeding and Lena was sobbing and Sam was begging to stop. We finally collapsed near a fallen tree. Couldn't hear anything anymore. No whistles, no footsteps. We stayed there until morning. At first light, we got lucky. Found a trail marker with a Park Service icon and followed it. By noon, we hit a ranger station. The guy inside must have thought we were on something. We were filthy, bleeding, barefoot, half our gear gone. He kept asking, "Were you attacked? Did they hurt you?" We said no, because technically, they didn't. He called search and rescue anyway, took our names. Lena refused to talk. Sam just stared at the floor. I told them everything. The photos, the footprints, the missing food, the whistles. They said they'd investigate. Said, probably squatters. Said, happens sometimes. But they didn't look surprised. We were driven down to the nearest town. We stayed at a dingy Airbnb and didn't speak for hours. That night, I couldn't sleep. I went through my pack, trying to make sense of it all. That's when I found it. Tucked inside the bottom pocket, one I never used, was a final Polaroid. It was me, sleeping, alone. There was a message written on the back, scrawled in thick pen. Don't worry, I didn't touch her, this time. I didn't sleep the rest of that night. I sat in the corner of the Airbnb bedroom with every light on, gripping that Polaroid. My own face stared back at me, limp and peaceful, completely unaware that some freak had been standing over me with a camera, just watching. I couldn't stop reading the words on the back. Don't worry, I didn't touch her, this time. This time. The implication hung over me like a noose. I checked every lock in that house, 3 times. I pulled the dresser in front of the front door. Still couldn't shake the feeling that a window would creak open any second, that I'd see a boot print on the kitchen tile. When the sun came up, I went to check on Sam and Lena. They were in the next room, door half open. Lena was curled up under a blanket on the floor, not even using the bed. Sam was sitting in a chair, staring at nothing. I held up the Polaroid. He took this. Sam looked at it, didn't even flinch. Do we go to the cops? I asked. He just shook his head. And say what? Some guy took pictures of us and maybe watched us sleep? They won't do shit. And he was right. Lena sat up and rubbed her eyes. We leave, she said. We go home. We don't talk about it. But I couldn't just leave it. That afternoon, while they were packing, I walked to a diner down the street, the kind with taxidermy on the walls, and 2 old guys drinking black coffee like it was holy water. I asked the waitress if she knew of anyone who camped up in the Goat Rocks area. She looked me up and down. I probably looked like hell, and said, plenty of folks go up there. Hunters, some loners too, people who don't want to be found. Anyone ever do weird stuff? I asked. Like mess with campers? She didn't say anything, just pursed her lips and glanced toward the back of the diner. An old man in camo gear and a Seahawks cap looked up from his toast. You saw him? He asked. That froze me. Who? Don't answer that, the waitress said. Ronnie, shut up. But he was already standing up. You saw the guy with the camera, didn't you? He likes tents. I didn't speak, didn't nod, didn't blink. He walked over and lowered his voice. My nephew saw him 3 years ago. Camped up near Berry Creek. Found his tent cut open. No gear missing, just stuff moved around. Later found pictures in his backpack. Him, his girlfriend. Same kind of thing. Did he go to the police? Yeah. They said it was probably kids. He scoffed. There ain't no kids 10 miles up that trail. But you want to know the worst part? I nodded slowly. He went back. wanted closure or whatever. Took a gun, GPS, the whole deal, and he never came out. SAR found his tent 10 days later, completely gone through, but not him. Only thing left was his boots, sitting outside the tent, lined up, neat as hell. That did it. I left the diner and told Sam and Lena we were getting the fuck out. I drove us out of that town like the devil was riding in the rear view. Lena didn't speak once. Sam slept with a knife under his arm the whole drive. We made it home. For a while it felt like we might forget. I didn't post about it. Lena deleted all her social media. Sam moved in with his brother. We tried to move on. Then 2 weeks later, I got a package in the mail. No return address. Inside was a single item, a disposable camera, wrapped in plastic, taped tightly, no note, no label, just a strip of tape on the outside. Sharpie letters written in shaky block text. Your copy. I didn't open it. Couldn't. I drove it to a storage unit I rented the same day and locked it in a toolbox I haven't touched since. But the next night, someone knocked on my door. 3 sharp knocks. At 3:13 a.m., when I looked through the peephole, no one was there, except a photo, slipped under the door, another Polaroid. It was a shot of my apartment, from across the street, through my window, me asleep on the couch. I didn't sleep for the next 3 nights, not even naps. I sat on my couch, knife in hand, eyes locked on the windows, every light blazing. I moved my couch to face the door. I placed a hammer beside my laptop. I deleted my Facebook, burned every camping photo from that trip. I started answering every unknown call with silence, listening for breathing on the other end. My hands would shake at random times. I'd flinch when someone walked behind me, even in the grocery store. The photo, that Polaroid left under my door, was taped to the inside of my closet now, a sick reminder. Me, sleeping, my own window in the background. He was watching. He found me. I tried to show it to a friend. Some guy I worked with, Trevor. He laughed. Thought I was fucking with him. "This is some promo for a horror podcast, right?" he said. "You're trying to scare me." No one got it. No one could get it. The 4th night I heard scratching, not from the front, from inside, like wall scratching, behind the drywall, a slow, dragging finger. I sat frozen in the middle of my living room, heart in my throat. I told myself I was losing it, that maybe I needed help, that maybe it was just rats or old pipes. Then I got a text from an unknown number, just one word, "Nice," and an image, a new Polaroid, of me, standing in my living room. That was it. I lost it. I packed everything I could carry in 15 minutes, grabbed my keys, wallet, phone, and bolted out the door, rented a motel 30 miles out of town, paid in cash, used a fake name. The clerk didn't care, barely looked up. I crashed there for 2 nights. No windows, just a dingy room and a flickering TV. Still couldn't sleep, kept the bathroom light on and the chair wedged under the doorknob. I called Sam, no answer. I called again, 10 times. On the 11th, he finally picked up. He sounded off, tired, or high, or Maybe just not there. Sam, it's me. Have you gotten anything? Mail, photos, anything weird? Pause. Dude, stop calling me. What? Sam, she's gone. Lena left. Said she couldn't do it anymore. And you're not helping. I don't want to talk about it. I opened my mouth, but he hung up. I texted him a photo of the new Polaroid, the one from inside my apartment. He never replied. That night I dreamed I was back in the tent, alone, but I could hear someone breathing just outside the nylon. Loud, steady breathing. It grew louder and louder until the tent walls started pulsing with each breath. Then I saw the zipper move. I woke up screaming. The motel phone was ringing. I picked it up, hand shaking. Silence. Then that same long whistle. One slow, flat note. Not from the phone, from outside the motel door. I ran to it, looked through the peephole. Nobody. But taped to the outside, flapping in the breeze, was another photo. A shot of my car, taken from inside the motel room. He was in there with me. I threw the phone across the room, packed again, drove all night. I didn't even have a plan. Just followed the freeway until I couldn't see familiar names on signs anymore. Slept in the car, ate gas station food, washed in truck stop bathrooms, didn't tell anyone where I was going. Every day I checked my mail at random P.O. boxes. Nothing. For 3 weeks. Then last Tuesday I came back to my apartment just to grab clothes. Inside my mailbox was a box. No postage, no name, just a black shoebox sealed with duct tape. I took it upstairs, placed it on the floor, and just stared at it for hours. When I finally opened it, there were no photos, no messages, just a single object, a zipper, ripped from a tent flap, mine. And beneath it, folded into a neat square, was Lena's favorite shirt, the one she lost on the trail. I left that apartment for good the next morning, didn't break the lease, didn't call the landlord. I just walked away, burned the clothes I was wearing, threw my phone in the Columbia River. I paid cash for a train ticket to Montana under a fake name I made up on the spot. Picked a tiny town I'd never heard of. I live in a cabin now. No Wi-Fi, no electricity, no address anyone can find unless I want them to. I've spent the last few months trying to forget. Some days I almost do. I sit on the porch, drink black coffee, watch the fog roll over the tree line. I pretend I'm healing, but I still wake up gasping for air. I still hear the whistle. Sometimes it's just the wind, but not always. Not when it's perfectly flat. Not when it comes at the same time. 3:13 a.m. Every time. I don't know what he is, or who he is. Maybe he's not even one person. Maybe he's just a sick breed of human, passed on like a virus, stalking trails and parks, waiting for someone to wander far enough from help. But he knows me, knows where I am. He always does. I know this because yesterday I walked to the mailbox at the edge of the gravel road. I don't check it often. Mostly junk flyers and mistake letters from other cabins. But inside, sitting on top, was a letter. No stamp. Just one of those big yellow envelopes, the kind schools use to send report cards in. I didn't open it out there. I took it inside, locked the door, pulled the blinds and sat at my kitchen table for an hour just staring at it. Then I opened it. Inside was a single Polaroid. The photo was taken from just outside my cabin, through the blinds, through my window. Me, again, sleeping on the couch, just like before. Only this time the camera was closer, so close I could see the glint of sweat on my forehead. I could see the shape of the knife in my hand. But here's the part that shattered something in me. There was another person in the shot. Someone crouched beside me, just barely visible in the shadow of the couch, smiling, looking right at the camera. On the back, written in the same shaky block letters as before, it said, "You always looked so peaceful when you slept." I haven't slept since. I don't know what he wants. I don't know if it's revenge, obsession, or just the slow, cruel art of breaking someone. But if you ever feel someone watching you on a trail, if your tent is ever unzipped when you know you closed it, if you find a Polaroid with your face on it, run. Don't pack. Don't think. Don't wait for proof. Just run. Because some people don't need a reason to hurt you. Some people only need an opportunity, and they'll wait as long as it takes. In the dark, right outside your tent. The end.